Hi everybody, hear that sound? Not the traffic, the cicadas. That is the sound of August here in southeastern Wisconsin. So I'm going to give you a late August garden tour. So late August in Wisconsin is hot and humid with temps in the 90s. Dew points in the 70s, so it's pretty steamy around here. And I gotta tell you the truth, I'm getting too old for the heat and humidity. So I haven't been out in the garden a lot. I was out last weekend and haven't really gone out at all this week. So there are things that need to be picked and there are things that need to be tended to, so I'll bring you along for that. How old am I? I don't mind saying that pretty soon I'm going to be having my 60th birthday. So I don't know where that time went. I know everybody who's my age says it, but I really don't know where that time went. So let's look around the garden here and see what's going on. First thing I want to show you is the arch. See that? That was a birthday present to myself. I've always wanted a gazing ball, and I found this cool setup that you can hang the gazing ball. I thought that was really cool. Can't tell you how many times I bumped my head on it. Anyway, the tomatoes are really growing. You can see these. They're reaching up above the top of the arch over here too. And on the end there, you can really see them reaching up and over. Actually, I'm going to give you a better view from above. Let me show you that. So here is a picture of my garden from up top. Wow, is it humid out. So you can see there's a huge sunflower here. That thing's got to be 12, 13 feet tall. And then you see the little pops of color everywhere. Which are the flowers. This bed here is empty. I just have some of my hanging baskets in there with the irrigation going over it. And then I got some huge zinnias there. I don't think I can get any closer. They're just huge. See if we can get closer later. And the sawhorse is protecting my trombata squash plant from the dogs, because the dogs have been chasing chipmunks. But what I really wanted to show you here is on top of this arch trellis is my morning glories. And they are looking just beautiful. I'm sure the camera isn't doing them justice, but they really are beautiful. Overcast day like today, they are really all wide open. There's Ellie patrolling the area. So that is the rest of my garden. So I picked everything last weekend. You guys have been watching my tomato taste tests, I hope. And this is a beautiful orange oxheart. That one's actually oxheart shaped. And I can see I need to do another picking. Right now I'm just washing the tomatoes off and throwing them in the freezer. I do want to can them. And the reason I'm canning them and not just freezing them is because I don't have the freezer space. I just recently bought a bunch of beef and I just don't have the space for them, so I need to, yeah, these are definitely ripe. I need to go through and pick some of these tomatoes. German strawberry oxheart there. I have taken out 2 tomato plants. The big zebra plant here, I've taken that one out. It just was not a happy plant. So I took that one out. And this one here, the fireworks plant, I took that one out. It was looking really, really sad. So that one is gone as well. So last weekend I came through and I trimmed a lot of the lower leaves. The blight isn't too bad. You can see it's here. And I need to spray again, but it seems like every time I think about spraying, it's noon and you don't want to spray in the heat of the day. And then by time in the afternoon comes, the mosquitoes are so bad, I just can't handle being outside. But I gotta tell you, this plant here, this is a combination of Juliet and Jasper, and there is not a speck of blight on these plants. I mean, even if you look at the lower plants, you can see some aging. A little bit of aging, but that's not blight. Oop, this might be. So these, if you have blight problems like I do, I mean, these 2 are going to be in my garden from now on because they are just such trooper plants. I mean, if you look up, I'm going to be looking straight up here. The Jasper has just climbed up this trellis, and there is just tomatoes everywhere, and the Juliet is still producing a ton of tomatoes. I need to pick. I really need to come in here and pick. So yeah, really good trooper plants, no blight, love these. The rest of these, this is that Aunt Gertie's Gold potato leaf plant. It has some blight on it. All these plants along here are just not looking very good. The tomatoes are coming out a little weird. This Galenus cherry is kind of taking over this whole trellis here. But the beefsteaks are just not really producing much anymore. There's a few green ones on here. I'll let those ripen. But a lot of them are looking like this. They're looking really sad. So we're going to take those out and put those in the compost. This is my sweet pea currant. It's got a lot of brown leaves on it, not a lot of blight. Normally this is a pretty blighty plant. Still producing a ton of tomatoes. I gotta sit down and get these as well. I have moved a couple of my overwintered pepper plants into pots as they become available, and I gotta tell you, they're doing pretty good. This is a jalapeno. It's one of the spice collection jalapenos from Baker Creek. They've got like orange spice, lemon spice, pumpkin spice, and then there's a red spice. I can't remember what that's called. And that's one of these. This, I believe, is the yellow spice, I believe. It's been producing quite a few peppers. And it's much happier in this bigger pot. I should have done that a long time ago, but I just didn't have the space. And here is another one. This one is called Suave Orange. It's got a little bit of heat to it, not as much as a habanero. It kind of looks like a habanero, doesn't it? But it's got a nice heat to it, and that one is looking pretty happy too. Again, that was from last year's peppers. By the way, I will not be doing that again this year because it was just too much trouble to do it. Here's another jalapeno. This is one of the Spice Collection jalapenos. Looks like lemon spice again. And then I have some poblanos in here. I picked most of the poblanos off of here. And Serrano. Serrano is always a really good producer. It's, I just take these off and freeze them whole. And then when I'm making stuff and I want heat in it, I just throw one of these in there. and they add a lot of really nice heat. So that one is doing pretty well too. That is not an overwintered one. This is an overwintered pepper. This is the jalapeno type jalapeno, a little bit bigger. You can see it's got some red ones on it. I really need to come through here and pick. And it's doing very well in the pot here. This one here is also an overwintered pepper. It's a habanada. So it's a no-heat habanero. Very prolific plant. This one, the leaves were really close together. This is an overwintered one, but it's now producing fruit. So I actually don't like these. So I definitely won't grow these again. My potatoes need to come out. I'm waiting for my granddaughter to come. They're coming for my birthday. And, oh, I can see I've got potatoes poking out here. Those are not going to be edible. So they look really sad. There's more weeds than potatoes. I'm not watering these anymore. So they should be okay until I can get these out of the pots. But I've got 4 more pots of potatoes to harvest. Stay tuned for that harvest. These little cucumber plants are plants that I replanted. So they are starting to come up. Doing pretty well. Lots of flowers on here. I have no idea what variety they are. I just threw some seeds in the ground in hopes that I would get some late season cucumbers. Over here, I've got a couple things going on. The smaller leaves here are cantaloupe. You look in there. You see that? Here's one. Oh, this one's split. So this one, I missed that opportunity. So I got a couple fruits on that one. And this is a trombata squash. That looks really good. And that's the reason I have a sawhorse in the middle of my garden, because the trombata is planted here. I forgot that that's what that was, and it climbed over here. So this is keeping my dogs from trampling this squash. But it seems to be doing okay, and it is now growing into my raised beds. I have not been having a good zucchini year. One of the reasons is my dogs have been on the hunt for chipmunks, and they keep going in here and moving these plants around. I'm sure they're knocking flowers off, so I'm going to have to find a different spot for these plants next year. I've always liked to grow them here, but I think it's time to move them to a different spot. This is in my raised bed. This is another one of those jalapeno spice peppers from Baker Creek. This one I believe is pumpkin spice. Beautiful orange color. This is another one that I'm getting attacked by mosquitoes. This is another one that I just freeze whole and then throw them in any dishes that I need. It's doing pretty well. All these peppers are making a comeback. They were not happy earlier in the season. This one with the stink bug on it is called North Star. We're starting to get a few more peppers. This is a pickling pickling pepper. I thought these were going to be smaller, but it's just a beautiful plant. I'm not real fond of the flavor of this one, but since it's so pretty, I'm just leaving it as a decorative pepper. This one is a Jupiter bell that is ready to be picked. Got another bell over here. These are called Cajun bell. This plant has a lot of them on here. Nice sweet spice to that one. This one is called Corbaci. This one here. They're like an Italian pepper with a little bit of spice. Here's another one of the jalapenos. This is the lemon spice one. Look at these flowers. Aren't they pretty? They're just so beautiful. Just the little pops of color. And with the sun on them. Look at this yellow here. Just so pretty. Back in here, I've got another decorative pepper plant. What else? This sunflower is a volunteer planted by the birds. Thank you, birds. And it's just so pretty. And my flower bed is just kind of overflowing here. And just a lot of flowers in here. This is what's left of my original cucumbers. You can tell I haven't been out here in a while. See that one there? And that one there. So I need to pick all these overripe ones, because it's just been too hot. Here in this raised bed, the kale is still doing very well. I always have pretty good luck with kale. This will go until you have a hard freeze. Actually, sometimes it even goes past that. Like past the first hard freeze. And it turns a little bit sweeter the colder it gets. So I need to come in here and harvest a bunch of this. But yeah, these kale plants, this is blue curled Scotch kale. Beautiful plants. So on this end of my raised beds was my carrots. I'm really not getting any carrots, and one of the reasons why is I had this volunteer tomato plant grow, and it is basically taken over. I have no idea what kind of tomatoes these are, but they're just starting to get ripe. They almost look like the German lunchbox, because they're kind of that size. So I just kind of let it take over this bed, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how many tomatoes we get out of it. Look at this. Look at all these roots on here. Isn't that kind of freaky looking? So I forgot to mention my beans. I pulled out the regular snap beans that I had in here and kept in the haricot. Once I pulled out the regular ones, these got sun damage because they were covered by the other beans. But they're still producing beans. Again, this is a haricot style bean. Very nice. I'm not going to plant the other kind anymore. I'm just going to plant this kind because these are the ones I really like. So I can't believe it's still producing beans. So I did harvest my onions, and then I put them on here to dry. I harvested these a while ago, like almost a month ago. And they've been sitting here drying and curing. And these are just some of them that are left. This is not a tomato or onion, it's pepper. But I've been stringing them, so let me show you. I actually built this bench. These are two benches here. I built this bench with this in mind. I should have put these just like a little closer together here. For big onions, they work fine. You can see this onion is fine. That one's fine. But the smaller ones, like this, falls right through. So I should have made some a little closer together and some a little farther apart. But yeah, this worked really well for drying and curing these onions. So here is one of the ones that I strung. You know, I could have done a better job of like gradiating them from bigger to smaller. But I thought for my first time stringing onions, that didn't turn out too bad. So I just have to do the rest of them. It's just, I know I'm complaining a lot, but it's just too hot out in the greenhouse to do them. So here they sit. But this is what I've got so far. So I've got a bonus taste testing for you. There's a couple tomatoes that I wasn't able to do in my regular taste testing. So I have them ripe now, and I'm gonna taste test them for you. So you get a bonus if you've watched to the end of this video. Before I forget, the bean that I liked was this one from Pine Tree called Serengeti. This is like the Harcover style bean. I would definitely grow those again. They were very good. I never did get one of these, pink perkly tie-dye. They cracked and then the plant just isn't growing anymore, so I never did get any of those. So this one, clear pink early. This is a determinate and it's still producing tomatoes. And the tomatoes, this was the first of the bigger tomatoes to be ripe. And I've got 2 of them here. They were a little bigger at the beginning of the year. And the ones that they have on there right now that aren't ripe are a little bigger than this. But it's kind of a nice salad-sized tomato. And again, for an early tomato, it was really good. So let's see what this one tastes like. It's really juicy. Very good tomato flavor. Strong. The fact that it's so juicy is probably part of it. Not very acidic at all. Winner, winner. So I would definitely grow these again. Again, first one ripe in the garden. Very good. And for a determinate to be still producing at the end of August, I think that's pretty good. The other one that I noticed is ripe is this one called Hughes. This is an indeterminate from heirloom variety from the Midwest, which is why I grew it. Because I don't like to grow something that grows really well in Florida, you know, because although this summer was kind of like Florida. Tall, heavy plants grow very large, up to 2.5 pound beefsteak tomatoes that are pale yellow with a touch of red on the blossom end. So not 2.5 pounds. Maybe in ideal conditions. It does have the little bit of red on the bottom of it. I've got a couple of them here. This one doesn't. Pretty tomato. It's it was in the white category, but it's kind of yellow. So let me cut this open. It's so pretty, this beautiful yellow. Juice is dripping here. Fruity. But it still has a good tomato flavor. A little acidic. Just a little bit. It's almost like the perfect balance between sweet and acidity. Probably leaning a little bit more towards acidity, but very fruity. Very good. Very good. Bright. tomato flavor. So that is my bonus taste testing for you. There was still a couple more that I didn't get tomatoes from, but I don't think I'm going to. If I do, I'll let you guys know. A couple people have asked me what kind of knife I've been using to slice my tomatoes. This is just the brand name is Yoshi Blade. It's a ceramic bladed knife. I have one of these that I keep out in the garden for harvesting because they're supposed to like never go dull. And they slice through a tomato like butter. And you know how hard it is to find a knife to go through a tomato sometimes. And these, I never have a problem with. Whenever I'm slicing up tomatoes, this is the knife I use. So I don't even know if they make them anymore. So that you can probably buy any ceramic knife. You can find them at, I got sweat in my eyes, sorry, at Kohl's, at Target, at Walmart. I mean, you can find them anywhere. Usually they're different colors. But yeah, I really like those ceramic blades. So that's going to be it for this late August garden tour. I hope you enjoyed seeing my garden. It seemed like I didn't have a lot to show you. But then again, there's a lot that's done already. Like the cabbage is done. For the most part, the beans are done. Kohlrabi's done. I don't have any lettuces. I didn't plant any late season lettuce. So yeah, everything is pretty much done. Which is good because I'm just not spending time out in the garden because it's so hot and humid. So I'm really looking forward to the weather breaking a little bit and getting rid of this humidity and heat. And I wish we would get some rain. We got like 6 inches of rain in 3 days and that was it. We haven't had any rain since, so that doesn't help us in the long run. Right, Soka? Alright, again, thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you like what you saw here, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. And until next time, happy gardening, everybody. Bye-bye.